ready to record. All right, Jarrett, Jimmy, you guys ready? Jarrett, Jimmy. Hello, is my mic not working? Hello. Are they ignoring me? They're ignoring me. Hey, you two. Quit ignoring me.
Has he been talking this whole time?
Yeah, I think
Oh my
so.
gosh.
What's he saying?
I don't know. Something about his nose?
Matt, you
I
and
have
your
been
nose
talking
will
this entire
definitely
time.
not fit in the show here.
Oh, what do you guys know about fitting in?
Whoa, Matt.
Why? You should be
don't.
begging me to
Okay,
join.
Let's not get brash here.
That's
Oh, yeah.
No.
You don't think I won't do it?
We told you wouldn't fit in. We framed it just so you wouldn't fit
Oh.
We've been stuck in the studio for 3 days.
Oh,
What the hell, dude?
what the hell, dude?
What did I do?
What?
Hello and welcome to the Area Nerdy One Talk Show. I'm Matt,
I am Jimmy.
in. I'm Jarrett.
and this is a special episode because coming up is Thanksgiving, and
Yes, it is.
it's a big time of year for a lot of people in America, and I guess Canada too, and all other places. But mostly, what we should do as a tradition is go around and talk about what we're thankful for. So, what are you guys both thankful for?
Actually, I gotta take this helmet off. I'm gonna speak without.
Oh my God, it's Jimmy!
That's
Our mystery guest is James
Oh
the
my
entire
God!
time.
Welcome to the show. Oh my.
That's right. It's me.
Oh gosh.
Obviously, I'm thankful for all the usual things. Health and family, all that stuff. I'd have to say, food-wise, I'm thankful for Thanksgiving mac and cheese.
Oh wow.
We have mac and cheese this year.
No, So one of the restaurant chains in our area serves they're famous for serving these freaking canoes full of mac and cheese, and they have different styles and kinds. And during November, they serve Thanksgiving style mac and cheese. So it's mac and cheese, mashed potatoes, corn, stuffing, gravy, turkey, and cranberry sauce.
Wow.
And yeah, so my girlfriend and I went and got it like last weekend, but we definitely went for a run before and the next day.
Holy cow, dude! I give you a lot of props. After Thanksgiving, I'm done. Count me out.
Yeah.
Count me out.
Yeah.
But this is before Thanksgiving, so he's
Yeah.
this is pregame.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thanksgiving.
You guys have like a
This
pregame meal. It's like, well,
This
that's
is just
half
dress rehearsal. Yeah.
Here's the way I see your guys' Thanksgiving. You cut the turkey in half, like right down the middle. In the morning, you have that first half. You go do a bunch of activities like play like polo in the backyard, and then come back in, eat the second half of the turkey, and then spend time with
Polo
family.
in the backyard.
Yeah, who's playing? Who do you know that plays polo? Because it's
I don't
not
know.
us.
I feel like you guys would make good little sweater people that ride horses and hit that the crochet in the ball.
Oh,
yeah.
James, my haberdashery has been trampled by the trampoline monkeys again.
I say the apiary is destroyed. Whatever will we do now?
I guess we shall play water polo with our water horses.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, there's father across the yard.
Oh, father, don't disinherit me, please.
Oh, father, are you the referee?
I don't see Father. Is he over next to the white Siberian tiger cages?
Over the newberry bushes on the edge of the hedge maze.
Are you the official father? Yes, I will favor your other brother.
God, we sound like Harry Potter fan club.
Yes. Oh, this Quidditch match was very important.
We're cosplaying,
Yes.
but
Oh my god.
yeah, that's just superficially, that's what I'm thankful for. I don't want to get super into what I'm thankful for because I'll get all emotional and stuff. But yeah, I know. Jarrett, you're next. You're up.
Here you go.
I don't know. Obviously, I'm thankful for my friends and family, and the freedoms that we have and share on Thanksgiving Day, and the
And your mustache.
and the traditions that we keep going for, and of course my mustache. Yes, the hallmark of any holiday is that weird uncle that is growing a mustache. It doesn't work out. You don't have the heart to tell him.
You ever seen that Vine where the girl's like, "Happy Easter, everybody"? Who is it? It's your uncle.
It's your uncle.
That'd be Jared of the family.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But I'm thankful for the basic stuff. Nothing in particular. I mean, just going through life right now, and until something amazing happens, I think it'll stick.
It's a journey, man. It's a journey.
It is. It is.
Well,
How about you, Matt? What are you thankful for?
well, first off, I would like to say I'm thankful for my wife. She's been very
Mm.
supportive of me in a lot of things, and I'm also
Woo, shout out to Matt's wife.
yeah. Shout out to my wife. Thank you very much.
And the crowd goes wild.
I'm also thankful for you guys for being there with me, making this this
Neither
channel
of us said we're
together.
thankful for Matt.
I know what I said. And I stick to that.
Well,
And it's like, I don't know, because right now we're just starting out, but it feels like we've been doing this
Yeah.
forever, and it's been like one of those things I look forward to every Friday or whatever day we record, and it's been a life changer and a positive part for me. I'm also thankful for health and family, and hoping everybody's safe and having a good holiday. And
yeah. Hoping all of our listeners are having a good Thanksgiving.
yes, and I'm also
Or not, if you don't celebrate it,
Happy Canada Day, whatever Canadians have.
Thanksgiving.
Moose Day. No, they don't celebrate Thanksgiving.
They have a Thanksgiving it's like
No, they
October.
already celebrated Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
they
had their
already-
Thanksgiving in October.
Savages.
Yeah.
By the way, Jimmy, I just wanted to point out I don't see you in the cam. I just wanted to point that out.
Oh, okay.
I just see Jarrett.
Well, that's the important part.
I know. I didn't want to be mean. I was gonna be like, Jarrett.
Yeah.
Jarrett's looking good right now, but where's Jimmy?
Thank you.
Yes, there we go. Okay. So, yeah, we've got a secondary cam so we can actually react to each other here. All right.
So,
Well,
it's moving on from the Thanksgiving stuff, but our topic today is Vikings. But before we get into that, we have a little bit of news about certain things coming out. There's a game coming out for Assassin's Creed called Ragnarok. Jimmy.
It's got a Ragnarok.
Oh, he's not. I totally forgot. Jarrett, he does not like.
I'm
Jarrett, he does not like.
going berserk.
Oh,
I'm doing the berserk.
oh, he's doing it.
Don't-
He's doing the
Oh,
thing.
Just go to your safe place.
I'm going.
He's going.
Go to your
Oh,
literal safe space.
That's it. Oh, he's gone. He's gone.
Well-
We lost him.
Yeah.
Well, 3
Oh.
became 2.
Two amigos, as they say.
This is when I can start
Matt,
talking
you
about
and
Jimmy.
I.
He can't hear me.
Oh, here he's always.
Yeah, sorry. But yeah.
You
All
okay?
right. I had a little bit of a walkabout. I blew off some steam. I'm ready to say my piece.
For
This
you,
will be going down as the Area Nerdy 1 history. It's the Great Jimmy Walkout.
it's going in the vault. It's going in the vault.
15 seconds of anarchy. Jared tried to keep it together, but revolts against Matt kept uprising.
The entire internet saw the fear in your guys' eyes. You'll never forget it.
But yeah, I
So
saw.
going from. No, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I was gonna move on, but basically.
That's what I was gonna do. I was saying going from Thanksgiving to Thanksgiving with Vikings.
Hey, Thanksgiving's a good movie. Don't be.
Gobble, gobble.
It's a masterpiece.
Truly a work of art.
Ass, gas, or grass. Okay, well, sorry. But I saw an announcement today about how Assassin's Creed is having a Ragnarok come out. And honestly, I think that's just kind of one of those things where it's like, I think they're overdoing it now. It's just they're taking a time in history and just kind of throwing it in. And
Well, isn't that what Assassin's Creed is for? Having your super overpowered assassin just be in different spots in history, in alternate kind of timelines, and having a mystical aspect.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's like
As
an
you guys-
ancestor
as you guys-
thing.
yeah, as you guys can tell from my walkout, I have beef with Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, he does.
Because, well, first of all, like any fan, I'm like super jealous of my fandom, and I don't want anyone else to enjoy it but me. But history is one of my big things. I hate it when movies and video games and stuff are historically inaccurate, and Assassin's Creed is one of those things. But the thing is, it like almost tries to act like it's true to history, but it really isn't. It usually comes down to like this, here, good guy and bad guy bad because he does bad things, and it's like an actual person from history, and it's like, no, well, they may have been a bad person, but like, if you're showing these people in like a cartoonish way, it's really doing a disservice to the people who lived in that history, which is what
to be fair, it's just I'm just taking the opposite standpoint in this one, but it is just a game. It's not supposed. They're a lot of the times they're not trying to like be as historically accurate as possible. There's no really way you can make a good game like Assassin's Creed while doing that. At the same time.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
yeah. The problem is I also encountered fans that were like, you know, I actually literally talked to guys like, I'm not gonna go to the, I was in college at times like, no, I don't really have to go to the history class. I'm playing Assassin's Creed later.
Oh
I was-
gosh.
Yeah.
So to be fair, that's one person. I'm sure those cases are few and far between. But Viking history is a very, like, as you guys know, we're all big fans of Viking history. I'm a big fan of Viking history. It's very, like, we don't actually know a ton about Vikings and Viking culture because it was not an oral society. No, it was an oral society. It was not a literate society. Not to say they couldn't write, but they didn't really write things down as a culture.
It wasn't their history wasn't put into literature, and most of the stories and histories about the Vikings were written by Christians, and obviously that demonized them a lot.
Yeah.
Exactly. So like what we get nowadays is a lot of like I'm trying to prove my manliness Viking facts.
Yeah.
So yeah. So that's why I have beef with it, and also I'm really into parkour and stuff. So that's my other fandom I'm super jealous of. All right. I
But
said my piece.
all right. I mean, we're gonna be getting this episode is about Vikings, but we're just kind of giving you some updates on what's going on in the nerdosphere right now. Also, I would like to just briefly, like maybe like a couple, like 2 minutes. I just want to talk about an update on the Mandalorian. That has been a big jump up on the Star Wars spectrum as far as views and
Quality.
quality,
Oh, yeah.
culture. I'll tell you right now, I love it.
This is
I'm
the way.
3 episodes in, I love it, and the content it's just opened up for so many opportunities. And
Well, we're gonna have to talk about that when we have the Star Wars episode, though.
yeah,
Yeah,
we'll talk
we'll
about
get more to that.
we'll get into that definitely in the next episode. I just wanted to point that out just so that
Yeah.
if anybody else wants to go and watch this, go on Disney Plus and watch The Mandalorian. It is so good.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I'd say it's worth taking a look at for sure. It's very high quality. I give it my double thumbs up.
I've not seen it yet, so I cannot speculate.
You'll like
But
it.
I will be seeing some of the episodes and some of this information by the time we actually have our Star Wars episode, and then I can talk about how horrible The Last Jedi is and how awesome Rogue One is. So stay tuned.
He did it. He pushed my button.
Yeah,
he
managed
did it.
Managed to sneak both of those in
It's
there.
not an Area 31 episode until Jarrett starts throwing some shade.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I just felt. Oh,
right.
that was heartburn. Oh,
Yeah.
but
All right, moving on to our main subject, right?
yeah, dude. What is the main subject? Even though I already said it a couple times.
Is Vikings.
Vikings. We're talking about the show Vikings, by the way.
Yes. Vikings, the History Channel show.
Oh, who's that? Who's that?
Oh,
Who's that guy? Oh,
Oh,
Jimmy, Jesus. Oh,
It's
ah,
Batman. Oh,
Jimmy,
Bruce
there was a guy
Wayne.
here with a mask on. Did you see him? Oh my God.
Oh.
Jimmy. Oh my gosh. Don't do that,
the Iron Knight was here.
dude.
he was spooky.
We are so corny.
That's Cadwolf. He's my Viking cosplay character.
Dang, dude. Yeah,
Dang, yeah.
You'll have to post a picture of that to the gram.
For sure.
We gotta
for sure.
show
yeah.
we gotta show the gram that, guys. I don't think anybody's seen it yet.
Yeah, so that's the Ren Fair character. It gets a lot of positive feedback.
You would be surprised. James gets stopped almost every 5-6 minutes by somebody that just compliments him on his his outfit, his whole thing, the fur, the helmet. Really,
Yeah.
showstopper.
So when you guys go to like the fairs, people like when they're walking by, they say that, like give you compliments.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
that's
So,
so
like,
awesome.
yeah. So like at the bigger generally the bigger the fair, the less it happens because a lot more people have a lot more costumes. But definitely at the smaller ones, people want to they want to get pictures with me, and they think.
Oh,
compliment
dude, you're a
it, yeah.
celebrity.
I know. It's like. It's it's the same thing I'm sure happens at Comic Cons all the time. You wear the costume that people identify or they like and they want to get a picture with it.
I saw
The little kids are hilarious. They think I'm like so fascinated and they want to see they want to touch the helmet and everything. It's,
That's so awesome, dude.
yeah.
But so going into this episode, season 6 comes out December 4th. That's on a Wednesday, and there's gonna be. I think this is gonna be one of the most dramatic seasons that helps bring the show bring the show to an end. When we left off on season 5B, you know, Ivar
Yeah, they
was
started doing that.
what?
Oh, spoiler alerts for Vikings if anybody's has.
Oh yeah. Hashtag spoiler alert.
Hashtag spoiler alert if you haven't watched
yeah.
it yet, even though it's been almost a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Well-
and they put it up on the history website for free after it comes out.
Yeah, so
Really?
basically it's like
Yeah.
if you're getting spoiled, it's on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually haven't really watched Vikings. I haven't been that into it.
All right. That's okay. You're gonna get
It's
a lot
fine.
of spoilers, though.
It's all good,
Yeah.
dude.
All right. You were saying where we left off, though.
Yeah, so we left off on 5B where, you know, Ivar was obviously has taken over Kattegat, had his entire force, everybody saw him as a god, and it was almost like, you know, I don't know. It's kind of hard to describe this, but it was like he was almost symbolized as one of the most feared kings, which in history they said that he was one of the most ruthless and harsh, from what I heard.
Yeah.
But-
So yes. So historically speaking, like I said, so these characters like Ragnar Lothbrok and Ivar the Boneless and Bjorn Ironside are all from these sagas that were basically, like I said, they were oral history from Scandinavia, and then they were written down by European like monks, basically, like hundreds of years after the fact they were supposed to have happened. So this show is basically taking these semi-legendary figures and it's making a story about them.
Right.
And then you know, someone like Ivar the Boneless. So people are kind of like not really sure what that meant. They think one of the things they think is that he might have been crippled and he was like carried on a shield around. The other thing is they were like, oh, maybe he was like so good in battle that they thought he didn't feel pain, and that's what it meant. But
They also
there's a lot of,
thought that he couldn't get it up.
yeah,
I
that
heard
might also
a
be
story
it.
about
it might
that.
have been.
A little, that's kind of a literal translation. But yeah, yeah, but there's like a lot of like lost in translation things when it comes to Vikings and their stories and stuff.
that's
So
true.
that's what this show basically is. It's taking like, you know, these semi-legendary, semi-historical Viking stories and making a show out of it.
Basically, it's not a lot of it's not historically accurate, but that's all for entertainment, which that's perfectly fine with me. I'm entertained, you know. It's
Yeah.
one of those things that we can all relate to. But so, you know, at the end of season 5B, we see that Bjorn has kind of turned Ivar's men against him by reminding him that, hey, we played together, we were children together, we partied together, we drank together, and I think that kind of was a big turning point. And now you start to see Bjorn with power, because if you ever watch throughout the show, it's like Bjorn has ambition, but it's almost ambition for power. It's more of adventure.
Yeah.
And you know, he idolizes his father, Ragnar, obviously. But it was like at the end of that season, when you see him receive the sword from his mother, what is it, the Sword of Kings?
Yeah. Their special sword.
Yeah, so whenever he receives that, you see like that transition. It's like Bjorn a king. Like honestly, I didn't even see that coming. To be honest with you, like I was like maybe thinking, oh, okay, it's gonna become neutral again, and
He's gonna pull a Jon Snow. I don't want it.
Yeah,
He's my queen.
he just comes out of nowhere, coming out from one of like the cabins. Jon Snow's like, don't take it.
Don't take it. Don't take Longclaw.
Comes in, he's like, oh, the White Walkers are coming. Oh, wrong
It's
wrong
Valyrian
set.
steel.
Wrong set.
Well, that's why I always thought. Actually, that's a good parallel because I always thought Vikings was trying to be a little bit too much like Game of Thrones, especially towards the middle seasons.
Yeah, it definitely changed a lot. I mean, the show,
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know if it's just me, but like when we were watching like season 1, season 2, it was very like, I don't want to say laid back, but it wasn't very like
Character driven.
character.
wasn't
Yes,
an
character.
epic.
It was more story driven, trying to figure out like the backgrounds of these characters and why Ragnar became who he was, and not starting from a farmer all the way up to a king. You know, we see those little flaws, but then you see like season 3 all the way up to like now. It was all just emotional and personal stories,
Yeah.
like things going on. Like you see Ivar, all of a sudden he's like, you know, he was obviously seen as just the cripple who obviously just getting pushed around, and he was just getting angry, being a little tough guy, you know. But then you start to see power, aggression, fear. And I think that's the transition that we got into with Vikings, was that the character, it started to become more personal with the characters, and that's how. And then you start to see now that Floki is doing his own thing, Bjorn's doing his own thing, King Alfred's doing his own thing. Like, it's like you start to see that, and I think that's the big difference between what we saw in the beginning of the show versus what we see now.
Yeah, for sure.
But what are your theories for season 6? Like, what do you think's gonna happen? I mean, I know Jared, you haven't seen much of it or anything, but I mean, what?
Yeah.
Well, I do. I have my own theories. I know I know everything leading up, just about. But I'll let you guys go first because obviously my input won't be as credible.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. I think that first of all, there's going to be a huge final battle to see who gets the throne of Kattegat. And Kattegat's like this, I don't know. It's like a focal power point for people because it's like a big trading town at this point.
Seaport, right?
Yeah, it's a seaport, and you got Harold Finehair, who is based on the historical king Harold Finehair, who was like the first king to unite all of Norway. I think that and if they're gonna go with like historical accuracy, I think he's the one that's gonna win because, historically he united Norway. Then I think Ivar and Bjorn are gonna have a showdown, and I think from a trailer and like a clip I saw, I think we're gonna see some of the Viking Rus. So, yeah. So like one of the cultures that came up from like Viking settlement and stuff was the Rus, where they came down to like Ukraine and like Russia and like sort of like assimilated, and there was a culture that started there. I'm speaking in very broad terms, of course. Go look this stuff up for yourself. And
culture is complicated.
Yeah, culture is complicated. History is complicated. We're truncating everything. So, and those guys. So I see like Ivar like trying to get support with these people, and they look very Viking Rus to me. They have like the fur-lined hats and everything. So I think that's gonna happen. I think maybe we'll see the Varangian. Never quite sure how to say it. The Varangian Guard, which was in the Byzantine Empire, very famously, the emperor of the Byzantine Empire had a honor guard of Swedish Vikings as his like elite bodyguards.
Wow.
So I think that might be cool to see. If they're going that far east, maybe they get to see that. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
That's a lot. That's a lot of territory to cover for the final season.
I know.
I feel I think like the way you're seeing it, it's more of like a historical prediction, which I mean that's cool. I'm just saying, like, I could see where you're coming from on this. Like my theory is kind of more of like, I guess like Jared said, character driven. So based on the trailers we've seen so far, have you watched any of the trailers yet, Jimmy? Or Jared, or anybody?
I have not seen the trailers.
All right, so there's been a couple trailers they've had out, and obviously you see one where there's like a funeral, and I feel like that's Torvi. That was Bjorn's ex-wife who was in that boat, I believe. I feel like something happened. Or King Harold Finehair, because you saw him get stabbed. And, we don't really see... it's funny. At the end of that season, at that last episode, you see him get stabbed, like, right in the side. But you don't ever see what happens after that. And I feel like he dies from his wounds. So whatever he went through, he just dies. Because, he had the choice to take the crown right then and there to kill Bjorn. And he didn't. So I feel like he made that mistake, and he's like, all right, I'm dying with the wound I have. And then moving on from that, you see Ivar standing there with this other country or set of people. And I feel like on top of that, I feel like somehow in the season, he's going to start to think about family again, like brothers, not just power anymore. Because obviously Ivar had his top notch of power. I feel like he's had it all already. He kind of like when he had his like 5 minutes of fame, and then all of a sudden it just kind of, I don't know. I guess how the show kind of rushes things a little bit. I feel like they're not going to give him a chance to reign for a long time. So I feel like at that point, he's gonna like he's helping out this other group, but then all of a sudden he starts to think about something because you see the scene where these Vikings are in the water surrounded by fire. And I think at that point, that's the turning point for Ivar, where he's like, all right, you know what? That's my brother. That's my brother. That's my brother. That's my friend. That's all, everybody I know. And I feel like he somehow finds a way to help them out and to become, but he's not trusted because obviously he's betrayed his brothers big time. But it's also, he was trying to defend his mother, who obviously only cared about him and not his other brothers. But I mean, like, that's just my theory because I feel like it's more of like a personal character thing now. It's not even about like,
Right.
oh, let's see what other empire is going to come in and try to attack the Vikings when they're trying to bring it to an end. I feel like it's more like, how are we going to end this show? Let's start killing off people or seeing people thrive or seeing just a different character development, really. This like, all right, Bjorn gets old and just dies of old age or whatever, you know.
Yeah,
But-
it's a little late for character development because it's the last season.
Yeah, it's-
but-
yeah.
Well,
a
I
little late
mean,
to the
like not
game.
well. Okay, like what I meant by I should rephrase that. I'm sorry. Is
Okay.
like a change in personality, I guess, is what I mean.
Like a Jaime Lannister pulling a Jaime
Yes,
Lannister.
yes, like exactly like that. That's
but in a good
good.
way.
That's a good example actually, because I'm trying to think of a good one, but yeah.
Yeah, well, any Game of Thrones character at the final season, they're pretty much their entire character and personality switches.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So hopefully it doesn't fall into more Game of Thrones syndrome.
yeah.
Well, final seasons are always going to be bad. They're never going to really live up to the expectations we have as fans.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only so much build up you can do before you can just you kind of it gets too big.
Yeah.
Right, and like I've said before, you know, we just all have to keep an open mind on these kind of shows. I mean, now, I don't mean to bring up Star Wars again, guys. I'm sorry about this, but you know, Star Wars fans, they're very closed-minded. They're very, very picky.
Speak for yourself.
Hey,
Easy there.
Hey, I'm just saying.
Easy
I
there.
mean, I'm talking about other people. Okay, I'm talking
Okay.
the critics out there. That's like,
I think you just
that's not Luke.
isolated a lot of our fan base just so you could
Have
I
that
didn't
flex.
lose.
have that
Okay,
flex.
all right. I lost
All
our
right,
fan
that's
base.
okay.
I'm sorry.
We speak truth. We speak truth out into the force. That's what we do.
Okay, there we
But-
go. I'm just.
All right,
I was
but-
just
Live
opinion.
long and prosper.
Wrong fandom.
He
You
brought
casual.
it in. But
All
yeah.
right, so bringing it back to Vikings.
yeah. Sorry.
So one of the things we got here is who's your favorite character?
Oh, that's a good question. I'd have to say my favorite character was definitely Bjorn. I love seeing the fact that we see him as a little kid grow up, and you see his strength. You know, the only thing that really sucked about that was the fact that you don't really see him in between the age of 12 and 18. Like
Yeah,
you just
and,
kind of
like-
see him in that all of a sudden, 5 years later or 6 years later, he's a grown ass guy who's actually
Yeah,
20 something, but
Yeah, he went from like a freaking prepubescent to a linebacker in 5 years.
it was
They're
like
growing big out there.
he kind of did the Captain America thing. He got in that little chamber and became big.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I think the guy who plays the Mountain went through. Like, he was just a little skinny boy, and then at the age of 13, he became literally a man mountain.
Yeah, well, he was little side note here. So I'm a fan of Hafthor Bjornsson there. So he was a professional basketball player for a long time.
Really?
So he was always like 6'9", but he was like kind of lanky like a basketball player. But then I think he got injured and he started getting into lifting, and then of course he became huge and is like lifting people over his head now. He's bench pressing Ed Sheeran in social media. So. Yeah. Or he just like lifts him over his head. So yeah, I'd have to say my favorite character was Hammond, Bishop
Oh,
Hammond.
Okay.
He's played by Jonathan Rhys Meyers.
yeah, that's
so
a
he was
good
the- he was the-
character.
Yeah, he was like the warrior bishop. And so Jonathan Rhys Meyers, first of all, he is like, he played Henry VIII in the Tudors, and he was like really good at that one because he was like very, very good at like the period piece thing, and he played kind of like that manic but very authoritative character.
And his character, I thought his character was very great in the Vikings, especially for a man who was so holy and working with what they call heathens.
Yeah.
It's like it's really interesting to see how he got loyal to Lagatha and stuff. And that was very interesting, in my opinion.
And it also brought in the I don't think they ever said it, but he had an Ulfbert sword.
Yeah. I saw that.
Yeah. So for those of you who aren't, history nerds like myself, the Ulfbert sword was they find these things in like graves and stuff, and they're basically the Ferraris of swords in the Viking Age. They are like 10 times, way better high quality steel than anything else at the time. And there's actually a really good like PBS like mini documentary about it called Unlocking the Viking Sword or something, I forget. But they basically go through and like reconstruct how these things were made, and they were incredibly high quality steel, especially for the age. Yeah. So
Sorry.
so that's why Haemund, he's got like this awesome sword, and like Ivar's like thinks it's awesome. He's like, it's a magic sword. It doesn't get dull. Which of course no sword is gonna not get dull, but like these were much more high quality steel, basically swords in the Iron Age.
Elon Musk presents the
Oh,
cyber
boy.
sword.
Oh yeah,
This
it just breaks.
salesman slaps roof, breaks down,
It
everything shatters.
He goes, I will cut this Viking's legs off right now. Comes, swings, and just gives him like a little bruise. And it breaks
This
his sword.
sword breaks.
And he's like, oh, he's got some strong ass legs.
Or like the scene where he's like on the dock and he like uses it to cut the shark in half. He swings it and like the sword breaks in half on the shark.
Or just like comically bends in half.
It bends the shark shape.
Like a Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But other thing was, I'm not gonna do Jimmy's Dojo today, but so when you watch like the battle scenes with Bishop Haemund, I don't know if Jonathan Rhys-Meyers did any sword training for this, but he looks like the most fluid slash easy, like it seems like he's like a lot more, what's the term, eloquent with his, he's a lot more eloquent, a lot more like finely trained, a little bit kind of like a samurai almost.
He looks like he's experienced. It definitely does.
Yeah, it looks like there's like more formal sword training that he's had.
It's probably good. I know a lot of it is very choreographed. Like I know that they do a lot of training with that like offset. Because I've seen a lot of like behind the scenes videos of like all the Vikings, doing their double axe wielding and throwing and all that stuff. And I mean, obviously a lot of it, they plan their moves, but I feel like a lot of them actually go into the training. And you already know that, Catherine Winnick is already martial arts based that we talked about in our last episode.
Yeah, so he looked like he was the most like actual, like it looked like an actual sword fighting with that. But that's my favorite character.
How about you, Jarrett? What's your favorite character?
Ivar the Boneless.
There you go. That's a good choice though. I feel like his character was definitely a sensitive.
Yeah. I usually go for the villains, that people usually don't like.
I feel.
I mean, Ivar is like something. It seems like he's got a lot more than just like the average, bad guy. He's not just bad because the writers want him to be bad. You kind of feel like this is a little bit more of an organic, odd character,
Yeah, kind of like a manic genius almost. During the Viking. Yeah.
Can't use his leg, but he uses his brain.
Yeah.
And I was also kind of interested like to see like the ground-based fighting choreography they use with him.
Wow. Yeah, especially the crawling. I've seen a couple of the videos where he actually had his legs taped and then he'd like crawl over and then doing a lot of the sword battles. I think mostly, if your legs don't work, why not train your arms to do everything it possibly can? And you see like in the beginning of I think it was season 4 or season 5 when you see like the brothers are all grown up and they're doing like the training all out in the field and you see Ivar go against his brother Vitzer.
Yeah.
And they like kind of like do like a quick little like sword
exchange,
play there.
Yeah.
I mean that was very fluid. Like that was very very smooth looking. You know what I mean? I thought that was 10 out of 10 swords as you would put it.
Yeah. And another thing. So like there are some times where he does like he's got that crawl, that kind of crawl like where he's dragging himself along the ground.
Yeah.
But he's like on the ground, dragging himself, but it looks like very menacing and like very like unsettling the way he does
he
it,
would
like just the way he's like moving, doing it.
he would master a haunted house like during Halloween,
Oh
just
yeah,
to come crawling out. He's like, "This is our best actor we got right here."
yeah,
Yeah, stops acting, is a professional haunted house.
yeah.
Person.
He starts his own business.
But my favorite scene I've seen with Ivar the Boneless is where there's the re-invasion of that town or city, I don't know what it is.
I
York.
think it was York.
York.
Yeah.
Where he's knocked off his chariot and he's killed that guy and he's covered in blood and he's like yelling at the enemy soldiers,
Mhm.
you know?
Oh yeah, and he's
that-
I'm saying I'm Ivar the Boneless in Norwegian language.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
that was pretty that was a badass scene.
Yeah, I honestly I feel like that's where like I think everybody started to kind of fall in love with that character is when you saw his like he was fearless. He was just kind of like screaming with blood in his teeth and his eyes, and
Yeah.
obviously he was expecting death. Like it's like he knew it's like, hey, you can kill me right now, but none of you are going to.
Yeah, and all the soldiers like were scared of this guy who can't use his legs and he's just laying there.
Yeah. It was
You
so
know?
bizarre. Like I feel like that's when also when you see his brother Ube was on the side and he was like telling everybody to like stop. He was like this. I feel like that is when he found out his brother was psychotic. I think that's when he's like, dude, my brother is crazy. Because honestly, if you're going like this, you're about to die and you're just like happy about it. Because obviously, I know that they're like they want to go to Valhalla, and for their pride and for war. But I feel like that was the tip of the iceberg right there.
Yeah. All right, so I don't know. Oh, so here's some interesting news, Vikings related. So it's been announced that there's going to be a spin-off series called Vikings Valhalla,
Ooh,
and
what's
yeah,
that gonna
it's
be on?
It's it's going to be on history. I think it's going to be on. No, it's going to be released on Netflix.
Ooh,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah. So it's going to be set 100 years after the end of this show.
Okay.
Is it okay now? It's not in no way related to the show, right? It's not by Mike Hurst or anything.
No, I don't know if Mike Hurst is going to be writing. I think that he actually made the announcement, so he might be writing on it.
Oh,
But
so it could be continuing off for that.
Yeah, so it's basically like the same universe, same.
Yeah, so it's probably gonna like focus on like the Scandinavian colonies, like in Britain and probably
Yeah,
in the,
maybe like
Oh,
the
yeah.
Danelaw and
That's
so
right.
let's see here, 79. Yeah, so probably like the Danelaw. Probably like I said, maybe that's where we would see like the Viking Rus or the Varangian Guard. The more like so like early Viking, historically speaking. So early Viking Age is when we saw like just basically the endemic raiding, and it was a little bit more a little bit more loose conglomeration.
chaotic.
Yeah, and by the end of the late Viking Age, you start to see a little bit more established, like somewhat more trained and disciplined, better,
Formal armies.
yeah, formal armies, basically, occupying armies, basically. Yeah, so I mean, like that was one of my major critiques about Vikings is like they basically always show these Vikings as like incredibly well trained badasses who roll over the
Well, that's kind of what they were doing. I gotta be honest with you. That's what from the research I found about the Vikings is that's kind of what they did. It's because like their entire lives were like fighting and everything, and they didn't. And the armies of the English and the rest of the European nobility didn't really ever see anything like this before.
Well, so the Vikings always had they always had kind of a endemic raiding society within Scandinavia, and then of course in the late 700s, early 800s, they started expanding out. By the way, if any of my information is off, please have at me. Let me know.
Roast.
Early Viking Age. Basically, their tactic was they'd show up, they'd hit a soft target like a church or a village that didn't have it, or a monastery. In the middle of the night, they'd grab everything they could get their hands on, set light, grab as much women and gold as they can, get back on their ships and take off before the militia could muster. And when the militia actually mustered, they'd get beaten about as many times as they would get beat. When they went to Ireland, which was much more militarized church society, they got their asses handed to them a lot more.
Yeah, the Irish.
In the later Viking Age, that's when you actually see these, like the fierce, famous warriors that we,
No one loved today.
yeah, that we know and love today.
Wow.
Yeah. So, it's a little bit. It's like I said, history's a little bit more complex than we give it credit for. You know, I will say that Vikings like definitely got me hooked on the Viking thing.
Mhm.
Like the look and the feel of the show. I was like, oh wow, this is awesome. And then of course I actually delve into the history and try and figure out what was real and what was not.
Well,
So-
most of the Vikings were just traders,
Yeah.
And raiding was
And farmers was their main thing.
farmers, but
Right.
Vikings, the farmer sagas probably wouldn't be as entertaining.
Yeah, farmers who sometimes steal things isn't as interesting a sounding show.
The
Well, I
Viking
don't have
Mafia.
enough sheet today. I'm gonna go steal some.
that would be a good spoof show, like farmers who sometimes steal things.
On this episode of Vikings Mafia.
Yeah.
So
So
the sequel series will be just the traders, and it's just a bunch of guys on a boat complaining.
yes.
The farmers on History Channel they've been taking all of our stuff for months. Check out their show on History Channel.
Yep. Well, if you want a funny Viking show, watch Norsemen on
Oh,
Netflix.
that
yeah.
is funny.
It does have a lot of disgusting moments in it, but at the same time, I'm like, the Vikings were pretty disgusting and dirty people, so
yeah.
Yeah.
it's-
Well, compared to nowadays, it's
Well, compared to the Islamic states and kingdoms that were a lot more civilized. I want to say civilized than the Vikings.
they were
And
a
it
lot more
definitely
established and a lot more stable than
and
European. Yeah.
had a handle on their hygiene as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, also if Vikings are like crossing like the ocean or the sea, by the time they get there, they're probably haven't had time to actually brush up or anything. So, all right, but we're getting off the actual show topic. We're talking about fake Vikings, not real ones.
Oh, okay, yeah. The fake,
Well, I mean, it's
the
okay to
fake ones.
compare, guys. Like, it's one of those
Yeah.
things. Not a lot of people know about the history, and like you said in the beginning, Jimmy, like, people are finding now, like traces of Viking, like, well, what's the word I'm looking for?
Like settlements,
Like, not settlements, but like just stuff, really. Like, I mean, hell, they found
artifacts. Yeah.
Artifacts.
they're finding artifacts, and they found one in Canada. Like, like that's crazy. It's like you're telling me that they made it all the way over there, or who
Happy
knows
Leif
where else?
Erikson Day.
Yeah.
Ain't got
I was-
the Bergen.
Also, I'm just gonna put this out there. Did you know Newfoundland is just Newfoundland?
Yeah, yeah.
What the who
named
names
that? It's like, what are we gonna call this? I don't know. Well, we found this land. It's
kind of new,
it's
I
new
guess.
well, I mean, it's new to us. We just found it. I mean, people are living here, but it's new to us. So, I mean, it's the new land that we found.
You know what? Let's just cut it and dry it. Newfoundland, and that's a placeholder. We'll put something else on it.
Well, we'll just call it new land found. Well, no, how about newfound land? Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Oh my god, was that a
What will-
skit,
what will-
guys? Because
What would we be what would we be famous for? How about big fluffy dogs? Okay.
Yeah,
my God.
perfect.
Oh
Nailed
my-
it.
Oh man, but
I feel like that would be a Rick and Morty sketch. They go back in time. Morty, we're
What?
gonna go to,
Ugh,
we're gonna
Morty,
go, we're gonna find
Morty.
this Newfoundland, and then we're gonna name it the worst name ever.
It's gonna be hilarious, Morty.
No one's gonna change it for years. It's just gonna be Newfoundland, even after it's been discovered. Friggin' idiots.
oh my gosh. But we're hitting up on that time. But
Yeah.
before we
Yeah.
cut out on the episode, I just want to point out that we have a SoundCloud now. It's at Area Nerdy One, and also we have a Facebook page at Area Nerdy One. Make sure to check those out. We post there whenever we upload our videos to YouTube.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe and comment.
Share with your friends.
Yeah, share
Check-
with your friends. Also,
Check out
we'll
our
be-
rap on SoundCloud.
Jimmy and Jarrett write their own like poetry on SoundCloud.
I do slam poetry to a funky beat, and James actually does hard rap. His name is J Money. Yeah, Vikings. They were the kings. I mean, finding land. That newfound land.
New found land.
Ready? Here's
Yeah,
mine. Hot dogs.
sailors
From
and
pork
tailors and
Or
bailers. Damn.
Yeah.
I think we just have a nice diss track for Vikings right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hire us, please.
Turn this into a slam poetry section. Jeez.
But I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Like we said before, make sure to check out the rest of our videos. The previous video will be in the link in the description. Also, we'll be posting every Tuesday for the Area Nerdy One Talk Show, and it will. I guess we'll just keep up to date on stories on Instagram and stuff like that. I don't. I'm not very good at outros. I have not.
All right, that's okay. That's
But,
okay. Like the Vikings, we will begin to sail into the sunset.
And then drown.
And then raid a village and then steal all your religious artifacts. I've been doing that on the weekends, guys. Please tell me that's what we're supposed to do.
Jimmy and I are just like grabbing dirt, like this right here is a treasure. Jarrett's in the background with a big load of like a bag full of gold. It's like I got mine.
I got mine.
All right, guys. Well, I hope you guys had a good one. Thank you guys for being part of the Area Nerdy One Talk Show today. I am Matt.
I am Jimmy. Skull.
I'm Jarrett. Solange.
Have a good one.
All right, you're gonna delete all that, right?
I mean, I don't know why would we delete this? We just worked so hard on it.
My mustache makes me look like a